welcome to another video. My name is Mamie and today we are going to be painting a spooky picture with some paints that I got from Poundland. So let's get straight to it. And here is the picture that I'm going to be painting on today. It is a spooky scarecrow with a jack-o'-lantern head in a cornfield at night. This is a close-up of the paint that I'm going to be using. It's, I tested out the colours. You can see a little bit of water damage on there. And here I am, just getting ready, moving things. Oh, one of those spooky nails. Oh my goodness. So spooky. Oh, a spooky rings. That's the paintbrush I'm going to be using. And yeah, just sort of sorting ourselves out here, aren't we? Ooh, peely. Nice. This is a side-by-side of the paintbrush that came in the kit, which is like a wire brush, basically. Not very good to use, so I boycotted that and decided to use some of my regular paintbrushes. It's around this point that I realised that I've not shown you what I'm using, so I'm just using that dark blue at the minute. Just putting a base colour down, seeing how it feels. Around this point I realised that the darkness of that blue wasn't very dark at all, so I mixed some purple and some of that black together to try and make it look a little bit more stormy and dark. Because essentially I wanted it to look like nighttime, and that dark blue wasn't as dark as I wanted it to be. And here we go, moving swiftly on to the cornfield. I'm trying to give it a little bit of depth, make it look a bit dense, so I put on a base colour and then I'm going to try and put some highlights and some lowlights on it, try and make it look a bit more full. So at this point I'm mixing a little bit of a highlight and I decided why not slow down the footage for you to have a closer look at my leaf building skills. Building leaves with paint. It's a new way of building. What do you think? Should I have kept it real fast? Is it boring? I don't know. I actually had a really fun time doing this painting. It made me feel rejuvenated the next day when I woke up. I don't know, but creating does that to us, doesn't it? But here we go, speeding it straight back up again because I realised it's not actually that fun watching it, I don't think, in real time. This video, if it was in real time, would have been about 2 hours long, because that's how long it took to create this masterpiece. So here I decided to make, try and remake some more of that lighter green, and I realised after the first swipe that it's much too dark, so I just tried to make it look more like a low light. I think I pulled it off. Should I have told you? Have I ruined the illusion? But anyway, just sort of putting that about everywhere just to try and give it some more depth, I suppose. Just wondering, I drew this pencil drawing the night before I started recording, so the question I have for you is, with these sorts of videos, if you are enjoying it, would you prefer to see the whole process of me drawing out a sketch before I paint it, or is the painting it the fun part for you? Just wondered because really this was a sort of impromptu drawing, and then I decided after I drew it, actually I think that this might be a fun video. Getting back to the painting for a second, I'm using just the regular brown that's in the palette for the stake and the arm sticks. Can you call them arm sticks? I don't really know the anatomy of a scarecrow, if I'm honest. And if we're all honest, this scarecrow's not very good, seeing as he has crows upon him. Well, I've done his little patches on his rag clothes. some grass around. I'm just sort of telling you what's going on now, aren't I? I'm adding the shadow to the back of his cloak. And at this point, something terrible happened. My camera stopped recording because it ran out of space without me realising. So the next clip you see, I had done all of that work without realising that it wasn't recording. I apologise. That took ages. Bad times, man. So I'm just going to do some little shadows, try and darken up the pumpkin head, regret the fact that I didn't look up at the camera to see the warning light saying, "You've run out of space." But yeah, here we go. Enjoy. I thought that those lines were a little bit too harsh, so I dipped my paintbrush just in water and sort of feathered out that colour, drew it up, and also tried to soften those lines around the outside to sort of smooth them out a little bit, and I think that worked okay. Ooh, baby, that camera change. Oh, look at me doing my best. Just using the raw orange colour. Try and make it look more orange and less brown again. I just sort of dotted that about to try and make it look good. And here I'm just sort of dotting some more colour on around the floor background. That's sort of the technique I use, just with a bigger brush on that ground. Yeah, just trying to make it look good. It's difficult trying to make things look good, isn't it? And then with that little bit of protective piece of paper underneath this painting, I just tested how dark this colour was before I put it on the page. Just again trying to make it look stormy and gloomy and more like nighttime as opposed to bright sunshine. So yeah, I'll just speed through this, I guess. Oh no, and then at this point I realised, I looked up at the camera and it had a notification saying that it's running out of battery. So I just said, yeah, that's okay. Ah, God, and the sky, I'd already done the sky. Why does it do this to me? But yeah, I guess it'd be pretty boring watching that expansive space being painted on, right, guys? Is it this point in the video that I think it's appropriate to ask you to maybe, if you like this video, press the like button, and if you're enjoying this sort of content, why don't you press the subscribe button if you haven't already? Yeah, see my content, more top quality content like this. Yep, and now it's time. Oh, look at these little crows being painted. Oh, look at that detail work that I'm doing. Little tail. Go up here, do the other crow. I like this one. I looked at a reference picture for this one because I wanted the shape and the angle of a crow turning round and looking at the scarecrow. I thought that was pretty good. Look at his little beak. Back down to the bottom, crow. I'll do his little legs. The fun thing about this crow is that this crow has got a little wormy in his mouth. I don't know if crows eat worms. Do they eat? In the comments below, tell me, do crows eat worms? I guess they eat anything, don't they? Just painstakingly trying to get the rest of that little beak around the worm now. That's great. And then I make the biggest mistake in this painting's history, other than, you know, the camera's dying, and I try and draw little legs with the paint and they're way too thick. Oh, you can see my nail quite close there. So, on the topic of nails, what would you, as my valued viewer, like to see next? Would you like to see me do spooky Halloween nails? Or would you like to see me do another spooky Halloween painting? the choice is yours. If you write me a comment, or you can at me on social media. I'll put my Instagram handle somewhere in the description maybe, and you can message me there if you want to. But yeah, I'm happy to take your lead. What would you rather see? Because I know that maybe painting isn't everyone's bag, and like nail art is also art though, isn't it? So also I guess we could do like I've got like a kids doodle kit is the way that I'm gonna say it. So I guess it's still art related, but it'll be quicker than painting and nail art. So let me know. Tell me please, what would you like? Note to self, stop playing with a pen while you're trying to do a voiceover. Ooh, I like this bit. I'm just going in and trying to give that rag cloak a little bit more of depth and movement. Trying to make it look a bit darker, a bit cool. Ooh, and I put some little lines on that stake. Oh, just doing lots of little finishing touches here, trying to make everything blend into itself. Ooh, I'm trying to make some clouds here. I don't know why. I do know why. Stop lying. In the original picture, there was some clouds sort of drawn in, but because the paint's so thick, you couldn't see the outline. So the idea was behind this picture, if the paints were actually watercolours as opposed to these poster paint type, you would probably have been able to see the pencil marks underneath. And what I was going to do was I was going to take a fine liner and go over it and sort of make it look more cartoony, just to cover the pencil lines. But you can't see any pencil lines, which is good for the fact that I don't have to outline it all, but bad for the fact that I couldn't see the reference point of where the clouds were supposed to go, so I just sort of smushed them on there. I'm also here trying to go at different angles because you can sort of see where I've gone straight down, so I try to mix it up a little bit to try and make it look a bit more messy. But you can sort of, instead of being able to see where the brush strokes just went straight down, you can sort of see where they sort of messily got scratched on instead. Well, that's good. I think it gives it more texture, doesn't it? Oh, and that little pumpkin keeps going quite pastel, so just keep going in there, trying to give it a little bit more depth, a bit more darkness. Man, we could make a drinking game out of that, couldn't we? Drink every time I say depth in this video. It's been my catchphrase. But basically, I'm just trying to warm that up a little bit, darken it, and we're just, like I said a little bit ago, doing the finishing touches, darkening places up, lightening places up. And here I'm using the yellow colour, just straight up yellow, and putting some lines around the pumpkin to highlight those ridges, which worked really well in the final picture. When it all dried, it really did highlight those areas, which is exactly what I wanted. And those little gloves just disappeared around the darkness of the background, so just darken them up a little bit. And here we're going to go onto the floor. I'm just going to give that a bit more texture because you can see the background of the floor looks really bright compared to the foreground of the floor, so I just try to, what would the word be? Tie those together, make them look more cohesive. At this point I thought it was weird that there was grass around the scarecrow stake, and there was some darker leaves that I had put on around where the corn was growing out of. So again, I just wanted to sort of tie things together a little bit and just add a couple of dots of green around, just so that there wasn't just two big clumps of green on either side, so there was a little bit knocking about everywhere. I did sort of mess that first one up and make a really big splodge, but you know, what are you going to do? And now I'm giving the crow some eyes, some big, accidentally giant eyes. And then I thought that the gloves just looked far too bright against everything, so I darkened them up, and then I was like, oh no, now the patches and the gloves look like they're the same colour, so I darkened that up, and then endlessly I started going around the pumpkin again, because when does that end? When will it ever end? Adding more and more and more and more and more pieces, and then I give him eyebrows. Best decision I ever made in this painting, telling you now. Finishing off that detail. Alright. And then he's done! Yay! This is what he looks like. All close up and that. What do you think? And surprise, surprise, we're doing another little detail. What's going on over here? We're doing white. Look at the state of that palette. Picking up some white. Whoa. Oh, it's only the bloody moon. Wow. Okay, so we're going to go off camera now. I'm going to finish off some little pen details that do need to go in, I think, to finish it off. And then you're going to see the reveal. Now, I did leave this to dry, and I added just like a really minuscule amount of detail with a fine line pen. This one that I got for my birthday this year. Meanwhile, all my nail varnish started chipping, so I mainly took it off. But I wanted to show you what it looks like at the end. So here's my masterpiece, made from poster paints, I assume, from Poundland. What do you think, guys? I wasn't sure whether to do any more outlining, but I thought that actually it looked quite sweet the way that it was, and I didn't want to ruin it by doing too much. So I will take a little video of a close-up for the outro, but while we do that, I want to thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next Thursday. Mwah. Bye!